What's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's FlightOfIcarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and it's time for another edition of Bands That Changed My Life. And today I want to talk about Canadian progressive metal band Protest the Hero, as they just announced their new album and dropped a single just completely out of nowhere. But if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel and stick around afterwards because there's plenty more content for you to enjoy. And this has quickly become one of my most anticipated releases of the year because I love this band, as should be obvious from any band that I include in this series. But really, of everyone that I've talked about so far, I feel like this is like the ultimate hype music. Like, this is the band that every time a song comes on, every time I play an album, I just cannot help but get just completely moved. I just feel this unwavering desire to be in motion, and I get these visceral emotional responses, and it's just great. Everything they've done has been so cool, and it goes all the way back to college when I, like many others, was initially introduced to the band with the song Heretics and Killers. It's kind of funny watching those old music videos now because they're babies. Like, that was so long ago. It's crazy to think about that and just like look at them and just see how young they were. But yet they were already like this fully formed entity with this amazing technical proggy musicianship and just a different take on music that I didn't necessarily think I would be into. Because at this point with my taste in metal, I was all about the harsh vocals. Like, I had kind of moved away from a lot of stuff that had more clean singing in it. And so I wasn't sure that this was something I was going to like. And I kind of had mixed feelings about it just because there's just this very anthemic, more clean approach to the singing. But ultimately, they won me over, and I got super into Kzia as an album, and I even ended up seeing them perform live. They had actually just returned from touring in Alaska, and they had all grown like huge lumberjack beards, and so that was a big focus of a lot of their stage banter, and they were great. They just full package band. Now, it's a little bit interesting kind of moving forward in their discography because I have a very unpopular opinion here in that when Fortress dropped, I didn't like it. Like, I don't know what it is, but something about it, it was like, just, it's different from Kzia, but it's not, but it is. And it just didn't strike me. Like, I did not particularly enjoy it. My roommate at the time didn't enjoy it, and he was into them as well. And so I kind of like slept on it for a long time, but many years later, I found it in a bargain bin for like $1. It was this water-damaged copy. In fact, I should pull it out here. Yeah, I pulled this out for like $1, and you can't really see it that well, but the artwork is all water-damaged, and I was like, well, this thing deserves some love, and it deserves at least more than $1. And also, what better time than ever to go back and revisit this album and see if I have a different opinion of it. And you know what? I did. I was kicking myself very hard for totally sleeping on this thing and just absolutely fell in love with the likes of Blood Meat, also the Dissentients, Bone Marrow, Palms Red, Sequoia Throne. I mean, really every song on this album is fantastic, and it's such a classic. Like, this kind of goes down, I feel like, for most Protest the Hero fans as their best album, the one that they love the most. That's not quite the case for me, which I will get into in a little bit, but it's definitely one worthy of the praise that it's getting. And for the life of me, I can't really understand why I didn't like it when it first came out. Now, when I got into Scurrilous, this was another one that I kind of still have mixed opinions on. Like, it wasn't one that I was fully bought into. It was definitely a grower, but it's still like, I feel like this is another one too that fans tend to have a mixed reaction of. I see some people who really love it, some people who absolutely hate it. I'm somewhere in the middle. I love C'est La Vie. Tandem is a great one too, and I will say that Sex Tapes continues to be one of my favorite songs from the band, period. It is just such a great track. It's plain fun. There's a lot of just laugh out loud, funny sing along moments. And to me, that's again just what this band is all about, more so than anything else, is that sing along quality to it. Like, it's so infectious, and you laugh and you smile, and it's just good time music. It's well written, and it just gets stuck in your head. And this one in particular definitely does that for me. But if we're really talking about my favorite release from the band, by far, it's definitely 2013's Volition. And it's interesting when I talk to people about Protest the Hero, because I feel like this is kind of a strange choice. Most people are kind of interested when I say that this is my favorite, but to me, it's just so obvious. Like, this is the real gem of their discography. It's not only their best album, it's not only a major milestone in popularizing band crowdfunding, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. Like, I potentially would put it in my top 10. In fact, a couple years ago, I did a written list of kind of the 10 albums I would take with me on the run or on a desert island if I could only have those 10 albums. And you better believe this was one of them, because every single song is single worthy. Every single song is super catchy. It is just the most consistent, most fun album that I probably own. I mean, it's just, what's not to like about it? I don't understand anyone who does not just absolutely love this album. You've got Clarity, Drumhead Trial, Yellow Teeth, Plato's Tripartite. That's when they lock up. That's when they lock up your bones. That's when they lock up. Underbite, Skies, and of course, the fantastic Mist. Name for me a more anthemic song than this one. Like, seriously, it is just everything about it. Right down to the music video too, and just kind of the ideas behind it and the concept of just this touring band going to this place and just falling in love with it, and the fans falling in love with them, and just this shared joy of this experience of their music together. Like, it's so beautiful, and it's just something that just, again, it gets that emotional rise out of me, but then it's also very technical. It's well written, super progressive. Every moment of it is just so well done, and this whole album's like that, but particularly that song just gets me every single time. I'd probably name it as my favorite Protest the Hero song of all time. But yeah, this album is just endlessly re-listenable. It's got that great mix of just the emotional with the technical. And then you've got Chris Adler from Lamb of God on drums. Like, come on. Like, seriously. If you have not listened to this album, you are missing out. And I feel sorry for you. Please, by all means, go out and buy this album. And then we had a bit of a gap, but then they came out with Pacific Myth, and this was kind of a cool experiment too. Like, these guys have always seemingly been interested in sort of trying to do things a little bit differently, toying with different ways that they can release their music. Ultimately, I'd say it's not one of their top tier releases. I kind of put it on par with like Scurrilous, I guess, but there's great moments on it, and I highly respected like this cool idea of just releasing a song every month and having it kind of slowly delved out as this subscription service thing. Me, I'm personally much more into buying physical media, so I ended up waiting till the end to get a CD copy of it. But yeah, it's another solid album. I would say that Caravan is probably the obvious standout here, with the symphonic elements kind of bringing out a different side of the band, something that we're seeing a little bit more, I feel like, on this new material too, so I'll be interested to see if there's just more ideas in that vein on the rest of the album as it comes out. But yeah, this is a great song and a good time, and another one that just really pulls at my heartstrings, but also pulls in like a lot of new and interesting ideas, and carries this lengthy composition to this epic finale. But yeah, ultimately, like, you can't go wrong with any of this band's albums. And again, like I was saying, kind of, they're the full package. They've got great songs, poignant, although sometimes admittedly preachy lyrics, entertaining stage shows, and hilarious music videos, too. Like, I love some of the stuff that these guys have done, and it just cracks me up every time. They've got the one with, like, the Star Trek and the Star Wars fans fighting. There's the ones with the puppets. I've showed clips now of a few other ones too, where we've got like a Wizard of Oz motif, and like they're always just doing weird out there stuff. I'm kind of sad to see that some of their music videos seem to like have disappeared from YouTube. I'm not sure exactly why. Maybe it's some sort of licensing issue, but in any case, if you haven't watched their music videos, whether you're a fan of the band or not, I encourage you to make that a part of checking them out because they are just so hilarious and just a good time. Like, they don't take themselves too seriously, even though their music can get quite serious, and they're just so talented. Like, their guitar players are amazing, great bass work, great drumming, and fantastic vocals. Just absolutely anthemic. And even if you're not generally in for the whole kind of clean singing aspect of metal, I think that these guys will win you over anyways, because they're just so damn good. But yeah, that's all the reasons why I'm super excited to hear what happens with this new album coming out in June. And it's been a long time. Like, it's been a while. I mean, their last full length came out in 2013, 7 years ago. And then Pacific Myth was delved out over 2015 and 2016. So we haven't gotten any new material from this band in about 4 years. And I'm always a big fan of that. Like, I think quality over quantity. In fact, sometimes I get kind of burned out when bands stick to like the every 2 years schedule. It can be a little much. So I'm hoping that this ends up being that the time away has paid off and it's worth it. But yeah, the new album, I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. It's palimpsest. That looks like it's kind of like a mashup of words together, so I'll have to figure that out. But it's supposed to come out June 19th, and I'm super excited about it, and I hope you are all too. For you fans out there, I'm really interested to hear in the comments what your memories are of this band. What's your favorite album? What are your memories of seeing them in concert? What are your favorite sing-along moments in particular? And if you are not familiar with this band, you haven't really given them the time of day, then I really encourage you to go do that and come back here afterwards too and let me know what you think, because I want this to be more interactive. Like, I really love getting the comments and hearing about that. But yeah, I think that'll pretty much wrap it up for this one. Once more, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Stick around because there's plenty more videos for you to enjoy. There's other ones in this Bands That Changed My Life series. There's also the podcast with plenty of interviews with talented underground musicians. There's tier lists, there's album reviews, there's album roundups. Just get into it. Like, there's plenty to get. And then down in the description, you can find links to all of our social media. You can sign up for our email newsletter that I send out personally every Friday to keep you up to date with metaltrenches.com. And please, please, please give us just $1 a month on Patreon or Subscribestar. It really helps me cover my overhead costs and just justify the time that I put into this. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches. Everyone's naked!